Hey, this is Jamey Stegmaier from Stegmaier Games, and you are watching the Beans and Dice Podcast.
Hey, folks. Welcome to the Beans and Dice Podcast, a podcast about
how we game.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And today is our live stream call-in show.
Woo-hoo.
Live stream call-in show. Let me get this phone operated here.
Try to get it fired up right from the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to fire it up. Mitchell's going to give us a call-in because we got to change of plans.
Don't change a plan. A little last minute switcheroo.
It's all right.
Yep.
Plans happen.
Yep.
Plans change.
Plans
right?
change.
You make plans to change them.
Yep.
Mitchell was supposed to be receiving his package of Red Rising today. I think it was yesterday or today.
Yeah.
But apparently the package has been delayed.
Did not deliver today.
It did not deliver.
So he was going to do a remote. I think he was going to Zoom in, and we were going to give him control of the show for 10 or 15 minutes to do a quick little unboxing, first impressions of Red Rising. But we will have to put that off maybe till next week.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll be here by next week. That's my hope.
Sure. Yeah.
And so with that news, we'll turn on the phone lines. Hopefully Mitchell will give us a call in and give us a shout more. And I think that's him. Let's see if he's on the line.
He's first one in.
Beans and Dice.
Hey, what's up? It's Mitchell. How y'all doing?
Hey,
Mitchell.
That's our buddy Mitchell. Womp, 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 womp.
I am so sorry. I feel horrible.
Oh, no.
I mean, it's not my fault. It's FedEx's fault, but I still feel horrible.
Dang FedEx. Yeah.
I know. Well, nice sound effect.
There you go.
Perfect. The thing that gets me the most is like they said, it'd be delivered by 8 p.m. So I'm Central. I'm an hour behind you. So that is
Sure.
like right now. And 45 minutes ago, the status of my delivery changed.
Oh.
And it just said pending. And I'm like, what on earth does that mean? I called FedEx. They're like, oh, yeah, it'll be tomorrow. I said, can I come pick it up? And they're like, well, if you can get in touch with the person who sent it, and then come get here in the next 45 minutes before we close, sure.
Yeah, that's not
and I'm
going to
like,
happen.
okay,
No.
which warehouse do I pick it up from? And the warehouse is 45 minutes away, so I was like, there's no way I can get there in time.
No.
That
So,
makes sense.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No worries. It happens. We've
We've done worse.
Yeah.
We canceled whole shows.
exactly. Yeah.
We're still on the air. We're still talking about games, and that's all that matters. All it means is we're just going to push off the fun for the Red Rising piece.
Yep. Next week.
Next week.
Maybe next week. Yeah.
We'll push it back to next week.
Yep.
Because we've got plenty to talk about for today's show.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, Mitchell, what about you gaming wise? I know you were excited to get Red Rising in. Anything happened this week? Catch us up gaming wise for you?
Yes, so I got a couple new acquisitions, not necessarily new, but
Cool.
I've played Clank before. A buddy in my board game group was selling his copy, so I got my hands on that.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking forward to getting that to the table hopefully this weekend. And then I came across a new game that I never heard of over the week and ordered it. Haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. Have you guys heard of Yggdrasil Chronicles?
I believe I have heard of that.
The name is familiar.
Is that a really, really difficult game? I'm going to pull it up here on BGG.
It seems like it. So this same guy that was selling Clank, he was selling Yggdrasil, and I wanted to buy it, but by the time I got to him, it had already been claimed by someone else. But I realized it had been re-implemented, and the reason it initially caught my eye last week, I think it was, we were talking about Everdell and the tree and how it was kind of just pointless. And this game has a tree. It's about maybe twice as high as Everdell, but the tree itself is a game board, so you're moving up and down and around, and it's in 3 dimensions, and that was kind of the hook for me. I like his theming, the Norse mythology,
Right.
and it's co-op, which is unique.
Yep.
Sometimes co-op's done well, sometimes not, but it seemed like it was pretty decent. But yeah, a lot of the rules said that it's kind of hard to grasp, and I thought, hey, that's fine, I'll manage. So I watched some videos, read up on the rules, and it seemed manageable, and I got it in, and man, just putting it together took me probably 30 minutes. But some of the pieces stay together in the box each time. And the base rules don't seem that difficult. It's just depending on where you are in the tree, there's like 9 different spaces. It's different actions, and the iconography, in my opinion, is not super intuitive. So I think after a couple plays, I'll be able to get it down. I need to get it to the table this weekend with my guys, and I'll be able to get a more in-depth review on that.
This wasn't the game I was thinking. There's a card game that's based on Yggdrasil, and Yggdrasil's in the title. I'm not sure if it's the first name or later in the title of the game. I can't recall what it is, but I know there's one that's kind of infamous for being extremely difficult to beat. I believe it's either a solo or a 2-player co-op, and I know it's really, really difficult. But I have seen this one actually now that I've got it pulled up here on BGG. I've seen it somewhere. I'm not sure exactly where I saw it, but I definitely have seen it before.
Yeah. So I guess I'll let you guys know next week if it's as difficult as I've heard,
cool,
or if not. We'll see.
And you said co-op, right? So this is a cooperative game.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm getting feels of like Paleo from it. I don't know why. I think it's maybe there's a workbench in the Paleo game.
Yep, right.
It's kind of like a standing cardboard workbench, and there's components up there. For some reason, that's giving me a feel of of Paleo. But this looks. I can't make out what to do with this. Like I'm looking at it, like you said, the iconography is strong. It's not one of those things where, like you said, intuitive. Like I can look at it and see, okay, I can see how this works. Yeah, and the little tree immediately reminds me of Everdell, even though it looks nothing like Everdell, but it's kind of like a tree,
right,
like a Jack and the Beanstalk type tree. It seems like it's going from like down into the fires of hell, and then all the way up into
at the bottom is
mountains.
hell, and up at the top is Asgard.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then the middle level actually rotates. That's a mechanism in the game when certain things happen. It triggers.
I
it
just don't
rotates,
see this
and that
happening.
Gameplay. Yeah, I know.
I feel like I'm gonna knock the tree over.
Slightly.
You knock the tree over and like ruin everything.
It's sturdier than it looks. For example, like the Everdell tree, I know it has like 2 legs. This has like 6 legs. It's like almost like a cylinder.
Okay.
So it looks a little bit more stable.
Okay.
So we were at the game shop this past weekend when we had our game day. There was a group playing Shogun over there, and we talked about the tower. Like, imagine if somebody just bumped the tower,
cube tower, and
it could totally ruin the game. And I feel this about this. Somebody bumped the table one time, and it could just mess everything up. Yeah, I give them props.
That's true. That's true. Well,
that is like very risky design work to really build that up level.
Well, the interesting thing to me is that the first version of the game, I don't know a ton about it, but from what I can tell, it's basically the same game, but played in 2 dimensions. And whenever they re-implemented it, I guess they figured they needed a hook, so they added this.
Well, definitely adds table presence. I mean, you see something like this on the table, everybody's going to walk over and check it out and see what it's all about.
Definitely. My only critique so far, and again, I haven't played it yet, is the top level is so high that whenever I'm sitting down, I can't really see what's going on up there. It's above my eye level, but we shall see. I'm going to play it this weekend, and so by next week, hopefully I'll be able to also have maybe a couple plays down at Red Rising, so in addition to showing the components, I can maybe give a quick little review as well. Yeah. I might cheat and open the box early because
go through, check out those components, be prepared to show them off. What's the price on this Yggdrasil? I mean, with having that much cardboard, big standy setup like that, what's the premium cost of that?
I don't remember offhand.
Rob, check to see what the buy is on this. See. We'll check on the BGG here to see what it's selling for. Yeah, buy a copy right there.
About $50. Got it $50 on Amazon.
That's not bad though. I would have expected way more for all that. Yeah. Componentry.
Yeah, this is about $40-$50. So,
isn't Yggdrasil the Tree of Life or something? Like, isn't that the name of it?
Yeah, it's like it connects like all the worlds.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think of Blood Rage. Makes me want to play Blood Rage.
Oh, yeah, we've been talking about Blood Rage recently, so yeah, we're trying to get that back to the table. It's been a little while since we played Blood Rage, but yeah, what an excellent game that is. So, yeah.
Have you guys played any of the expansions for Blood Rage?
Just the 5-player expansion is all I've played.
And I've played them all. I just once, though. I played with the gods once, and I played with everything once. Yeah.
Yeah, I've played just with the gods one. And, I mean, it adds a little extra, but in my opinion, it's not a huge change. I was just curious what you guys' 2 cents was on it.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Playing with the gods, it adds another level of decision making because the gods do something to the certain areas that they're in. So it just adds one little more rule or one more little hook. So it makes it a little bit more thinky. But you're absolutely right. It doesn't drastically change anything about the game. 95% of the game you're still doing what you were doing before. So and sometimes those are the best kinds of expansions. I mean, it doesn't mess with what was already a great idea, a great game. But for those who want just a little bit extra, it kind of gives you one more thing to put on the board to think about. So. It's good. Yeah. I know, Carlos, you have the 5-player expansion. Sure, yeah. Have we played it with 5 yet?
We have.
I think we did. Yeah.
It feels a little long.
Yeah, it is a little long with 5. Yeah. It gets crowded.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Mm.
I think 4 is a sweet spot.
It's funny that you guys bring up Blood Rage. Whenever I was making my my board games behind me on my camera look nice, whenever I thought I was going to be streaming tonight with you guys, my wife was like, "Hey, you should open up your Blood Rage box," because she'll play like lighter games with me, but not Blood Rage. It's too heavy for her. But she started getting into mini painting, and she's man, my minis and Blood Rage look amazing, and she wanted me to show them off.
Yeah, that's great.
So realistic, but yeah,
that's helpful. If you can get wifey or kiddos into painting your minis, that's one less task you have to do.
I don't have to do it myself.
Yeah, I wish I had one of those. I got a wife and 3 kids, and my daughter has shown some interest. And actually, I need to push her a little more towards it. She's 15 now, so she's got a bunch of different things pulling for her attention. But she's definitely shown an interest in it. I'm just not a painter, and so I need to get her with some of my friends who paint, so she can get a taste of it.
Well, Mitchell, until next week, I'm really hoping the delivery comes through and we can get you back on and actually put you on camera. This will give you another week to set up the table and how you want it.
Yeah. And
that way we can do, for y'all folks at home, a much better prepared unboxing for you instead of the last minute one we were hoping to do, which didn't work out.
Yeah, that's good. We'll finally put a face to the voice here when we get you up on the Zoom call.
Yep.
For sure. Well, thanks again, guys. My apologies, it didn't work out, and fingers crossed. I would hope I'm not delayed by another week. I'm sure it'll be here by then.
No worries.
Brother, you've already provided at least an hour more of content with your calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we already thank you for what you've done.
Yep.
So we appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Sure.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Bye. See you in the chats.
Have a good night, too. Bye.
All right, that was Mitchell of Louisiana, and he, like we said, we're supposed to have the Bread Rising unboxing. However, Mitchell's package did not deliver on time, so we're just going to push that back a week. It's not a big deal. We're here every week.
Yep.
We'll do it. We'll try it again for next week.
Like I said, we got stuff to talk about.
We got plenty to talk about.
We're never
today.
empty-handed when we're talking about board games, but
that does open up the phone line.
Yep.
So I'm going to put the phone number up on the board: 813-618-7099. If you're out there watching on the channels, or some people even call without even watching, they just know the phone number and the time, and
just
they call in.
Yeah, we've had that a few times.
Yeah, so just call in and talk to us about what you've been playing. I think we're just going to ping back and forth right now, Rob. Let's talk about stuff that we've been up to, because this past week, we had our first game day of 2021.
And over a year, but first one of 2021, first one of most of 2020. Yeah, so
and first time that we've had a game day. I mean, it feels good.
Yeah, it was nice to get back and see people, and we had a few people who were concerned still with going out and joining a group.
We got a call coming in. Let's take a beat. Beans and Nice Podcast. State your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, it's Dave from Riverview, guys.
Hey, my buddy Dave. How are you, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
Things are well. We just got off the phone with Mitchell. We weren't able to do the Red Rising that we were hoping to do. The unboxing, the delivery didn't happen, so we're hoping that you can fill in that airtime for us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll give it a shot. I was looking forward to that, too. It's not a big Stegmaier, super fan, but anytime he puts something out, I need to take a look at it. So.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you guys are talking things that remind you of Blood Rage, so to take Nick's usual comment, it's Kickstarter season again.
Oh, yeah. Stole his thunder.
Copyrighted, trademarked.
So, what I'm watching right now is Mythic Battles Ragnarok.
Oh, yeah.
By Monolith is on Kickstarter right now. It's, I don't know, somewhere over $1 million already raised on it. And
isn't that where Sam went to go work?
Yeah, I believe he's
Sam
the
Healy?
U.S. ambassador for Monolith, or maybe it's Mythic. I get those two. They're similar names. They make great games. They're always
I can't remember.
over-the-top productions. But yeah, I think Sam.
Is this the one is this the same company that did Joan of Arc?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. They did Mythic Battles Pantheon, and they did Conan.
Right. Okay.
And I believe they had a hand in the Batman Gotham City, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I get those two companies mixed
I don't
together.
think they are. I think they are different companies.
Yeah,
You're right.
different one,
Monolith. It's the publisher's Monolith. That's not where he went.
Right. Yeah, he went to Mythic or something. Was it something like that?
That must be the name of the company. Was Mythic.
So they're backwards.
Confusion.
Yep.
Yeah, it's confusing, but no, it's a skirmish game. You draft your god, your heroes, and then your armies, and it's smaller map. You can fight. You can gather resources, try and gobble up resources faster than your opponent. Looks really cool. I was really sad to miss out on the Pantheon one, which is the Greek version.
Right.
But I saw on the Kickstarter that you can retroactively get all that. Like there's a huge package, right?
Yeah, I mean,
if you got boatloads of money,
there's some stimulus money.
Exactly.
On that one.
Money to throw away. Yeah.
We're gonna need another stimmy for that.
$300 to get everything in this pledge. $250 to get the two basics from the Greek and the Norse combined.
Wow.
And even still, that's a ton of content. They put a lot of stuff into it. And then, of course, as soon as this hits, Simon has to, wrench my arm with the X-Men.
Oh yeah.
Marvel United.
It's okay. You got 21 days to get that money together. Oh, down in like 19.
I know. Yeah, it's like I got to put down a payment plan on that. So I'm still painting up the Kickstarter that just arrived a few weeks ago. So
the Marvel.
You went all in on
Marvel,
that one, though, right?
Yeah.
I got everything but like the mat and the cardboard. I got all the plastic. So,
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I figured that was the most bang for the buck.
And all I want is cardboard and
take out all the retail, and like each box would just have like its own unique figure,
right?
All their expansions. And I guess they decided not to do that. They're only going to bring the Spider-Man expansion to retail. And that's why in this Kickstarter, they're offering it again to anyone who missed it at a slightly higher price because of the short, I believe because of the production run smaller.
Yeah, I was looking at the X-Men United.
Yeah.
I was checking out that X-Men United Kickstarter, and I saw that they allowed for the Marvel United backlog, but I didn't see the Marvel United mats in that option as
No, and I think they're going to tease it. Like I said, there's a lot of people. I'm on one of the Facebook groups for Marvel United, and everyone's like flipping out first day. This launched on Wednesday. It wasn't a Tuesday like most. It launched on Wednesday. And people are complaining 3 hours in. I don't see this character. I don't see this character. And in the last campaign, they added like 40 characers over 3 weeks, not including expansions.
Yeah, people are saying if so and so's not in, I'm not buying. It's a lot of drama on there.
Yeah, this is how Simon plays their game. You don't see what they fully planned until like 7 hours before the Kickstarter closes.
All right, so I'll hang tight then before I make my commitment and decision on.
Yeah. It is a very good game. I really, I watched Sam and not Sam. I watched Tom and the crew play it on the Dice Tower. They did a playthrough of the core set of the X-Men, and they've added some new things like somebody can take control of the villain to make it 5 players.
And I wanted to ask you, how much of Marvel United have you played? And the reason I ask is because Robert and I just introduced Robert to it today. So I gave him 2 games of Marvel United tonight, and it was very much a strong meh for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to the combination of heroes that you choose to take on whatever villain you get, and of course it's always by card draw.
Yeah, he found it to be very easy. Have you played any of the expansions, and what does it add?
I haven't done. You know me, I don't play on painted plastic, so
yeah.
I played we played the base set though. I got the base set back in
the Walmart
December,
edition.
We played that. Yeah, we played that probably 10 a dozen times total.
I've enjoyed every play.
And I've even soloed it. It's got a unique solo mode where you take 3 heroes and you mix their decks all together.
Oh.
And so you draw 5 cards instead of 3. I think the rule is. And then, so whatever cards you have, you might be able to chain one character a bunch of times in a row because of the cards you draw. And then,
that'd be fun.
Kind of
like back-to-back Ant-Man.
Right. So you can chain your own, you can play them in any order. You just play it out of your hand. You don't have to alternate heroes like the multiplayer version.
Oh, well, hopefully Nick Oben will call in, because I know he's been playing a lot of the Marvel United, actually playing, because as he and I believe, if we followed your rule of don't play with unpainted plastic, we would never play anything.
Ever. Unless it was a card game. We could play card games, but that's...
I usually get them done quickly. Life has kind of gotten in the way recently, both with home stuff and family abroad.
Yeah.
But, it keeps me sane. The painting minis is what's kept me sane, not gaming with my friends during this pandemic. So
well, I'm dang near my second shot. I know a bunch of us who are as well, and that's just going to make it much less risky for us to get together, and hopefully we'll be able to see you in person soon.
Sure.
Yep. I get my second shot in a couple days.
Sweet. We'll be Godspeed to you on that second shot, man. I heard it's a doozy for some folks.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, for some.
But no, I mean, the Marvel United, I've enjoyed it. I probably had a game, I think it was against Red Skull, which is like easy mode. But
I don't know. Red Skull gave us more of a run for our money than Ultron did.
Yeah, we played the two games. We played Ultron once and Red Skull once, and we actually beat them both pretty easily.
I would not
Ultron,
say.
To me, Ultron felt a little pandemic-y to me, the pandemic board game where you're
filling the locations.
Yeah, you gotta spread out and eat the cubes, from the places before they bust.
Yeah,
it almost had the exact same feel. But I mean, there's a way to make the game harder. You take out the wilds cards out
that's
of
what I've heard.
deck.
Yeah,
and so there's a way to make it. So if it felt easy, there's ways to make it harder.
Yeah. Oh, because that also kills you quicker. Not only does it take away your options,
right?
Your decks out.
Rounds, yeah.
Yeah, you get decked out quicker.
A shorter timer.
All right, well, I guess Robert and I got to move it up to superhero level.
Yeah, we'll have to try that.
Yeah, I've heard some good things, and I've read through the expansions, and each one kind of adds their own little mix. And now with the new version, the X-Men, you can play Overlord, or 1 versus 4, or 1 versus however many.
Yeah.
And they're retro. They're making that rule set apply to everything you already got.
Wow, that's cool.
First generation. So
the villain, the super villain rule that a player plays the actual villain.
Right.
And there's also like a hero trigger card, kind of like a one shot. If you make this condition happen, it gives you a big push the other direction. So when you feel like you're falling out of the game, it gives you that stand up dice roll kind of moment. So,
yeah, we'll have to try out. I've heard some of the expansions kick it up a notch too. I heard like the Sinister Six is really rough. They, I know they were saying on Dice Tower that the base game felt a little easy for a lot of people, but that there were a couple of the expansions, the Sinister Six one particularly, that can really kick your butt, and so you really have to try it over and over sometimes. And then, like you say, there's ways to make it tougher. I've heard, but it just seemed to me like all of the decisions were pretty obvious. We played a game with 3 of us, and then we played another one with 4. And there were very few times where we really ever had to talk about what to do. It seemed like what you needed to do was pretty obvious every time. So it just felt like you were flipping a card and then doing what you were expected to do. But again, some of those expansions, I think they'll add some complexity. They'll add some decisions, and that hopefully will take the game up a notch for me.
Well, we'll ask Nick Oben when he calls in. We'll make sure he calls. I know he's played a ton of it.
I'm sure Nick's playing it with his younger kids too, which I think it's a great game for that.
Right.
I don't think it's so. It's pretty shallow, but I mean, there is. Like I said, it was a lot deeper than I thought I was going to get. I thought I was just going to get pretty little miniature statues to put in my office.
Sure. There you go.
And paint those, and
achievement unlocked on that one.
Yeah, exactly. So
All right, brother. I appreciate your call.
Hope to see you guys in person soon.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Take care.
We'll have to play some Anachrony.
It's Rob still trying to get that.
I'm still saying on Anachrony. We're going to play.
I'm up for it. Maybe
second Saturday of the month. Your turn. We'll see you there.
I'll have my Pfizer superpowers by then.
Awesome.
Take care.
See you, David.
All right, folks. That opens up our phone lines again. I got to say, Rob, because that was one of the topics we're going to talk about. Is our Marvel United play.
Right.
Phone lines 813-618-7099. If you're looking to call in. When David said it, it's kind of a shallow game. Listen, folks, I'm okay with that sometimes. Like, not every game has to kill you. Not every game has to be like that hardcore. I don't need it all in my life to be, pandemic on epic mode.
Yeah.
The grizzled. Like, everything doesn't have to be the grizzled all the time.
The thing, and I'm trying to think it through here on the fly, but I think the thing is, this is a grander scale. It's a bigger setup. It's a bigger game. There's lots of minis. There's lots of chits. I feel like when you get that big, the game should be big. And this, so far, hasn't.
Well, the game is not big. Because the table is 6 locations, which are cards, 1 villain, and everybody gets like a 40 deck card.
Yeah.
the options are there, the menu.
Sure.
It's a la carte.
Yeah.
Who do you want to play against what? All those, the depth is in the selections of the characters that you get to play, not the game itself.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe that perception of, wow, look at the 4-foot stack of cardboard boxes that Nick has.
Yeah.
Should give you a deep experience, but it's just a kiddie pool.
I guess that's where I get kind of lost in it. It's like I had heard before I had played it that it was pretty light, but just actually playing it and seeing how light it was, I don't know. It just didn't do it for me yet. But we'll see. I'm keeping an open mind.
But it's going to work for our kids.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
when you me with your son and your youngest and my youngest together,
yeah,
I think that's going to be money.
Sure.
And especially because we like to win.
Oh yeah.
Right. And then we got 2 kids over there
messing it up.
and I've played nothing but with my son for the most part, my youngest, and trying to win is so hard because I'm not going to tell him what to do. I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to point some things out, but what I don't want to do is say, no, don't do that. You should do this, this, and then this.
Sure.
He's not learning the game.
Yeah.
He's just doing what Poppy tells him to do. So I let him play his game, and then I have to try to figure out how to beat the bad guy, like with one hand tied behind my back, pretty much.
Sure. Yeah, that's one way to make it harder. Yeah.
Right? So
make it a little more challenging.
take it home, try with Ian.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Okay.
So that was our play of Marvel United. I'll consider that my topic.
Sure.
We'll flip it over to Rob. What you got for the folks?
Well, really, most of my stuff has been the last game day. So we had we mentioned the game day last Saturday at Your Turn. And actually, I can pull up the list here of some games that we played. I know we got to play several games together. And actually, on the fly, I know you threw together a little Unmatched tournament. You were eager to introduce some people.
I got asked to bring it.
Yeah.
And it popped off.
Right. People enjoyed it. We taught 5 new players, including my daughter Emmy, how to play. So there was Raphael and his
5 new players.
Rachel, and then Zeno and his son, and then my daughter all played. And then I jumped in and we did a little 6-player tournament. Took us probably an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to do a little 3-round 6-player tournament. And it turned out that the 2 kids, the 2 youngest ones there, ended up in the final against each other. And so
it was the Zeno family versus the Childers family.
Yeah.
And the kids were there trying to honor the death of their fathers who got knocked out in earlier rounds.
Yep. First time both of them had played. I got knocked out in the first round, and I was the only one who had played before. So it shows you that that game, anybody can pick it up and play it. So it was
because Emmy's 15?
Yep.
And then Kai, I believe, is 11 or 12. No, 12?
Yeah, he's got 11 or 12, I'd say.
Yeah, 11 or 12. Zeno can call in and tell us if we're wrong.
Yeah.
And they were able to get to the top table and take the championship.
Then I know Raph and his girlfriend Rachel played, and I believe since then they have all bought copies of it. I think.
Oh, he posted a haul picture today on the chat room of all a bunch of this Unmatched stuff that he got in.
Yep. And then Brian and Zeno, I think, was online buying it before we even left Your Turn that day. So he's like, yeah, we like it, we're in. So
that was our tournament of Unmatched that we did there.
Fun game, and you have everything for it now, I think, don't you? And you've even got a pre-order in for the
everything
Deadpool.
Except for the Buffy expansion. That's
right.
That's the one I'm missing.
That's the one you don't have. Yeah.
All right. So you talked about Unmatched. I'll talk about Council of Blackthorn.
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
So pull that one up so we can show it on the board. And again, phone lines are open, folks. If you want to call in 813-618-7099. Council of Blackthorn is a game that Barry Kreutzer brought with him. It's a social, I would think, area control game, hand management.
Yeah, it's got a few mechanics in there.
With area control.
We can see on the BGG here, what do they say the mechanics are? Let's see. Let me find where they have the mechanics.
Pet Boys, usually where you find them.
Mechanics?
Yeah, get some mechanics there.
Yeah. Or
that's just bad. I'm sorry, folks.
Where does Zeno work for? Brian Zeno?
It's at the top. The list is at the top.
Brian Zeno works for. It's not Pet Boys. It's
Napa.
There you go. Napa know-how. They moved some things around, so I'm trying to find it. It used to be right down there. We go. Mechanisms.
There we go.
Area majority influence. Dice rolling. There are some dice in the game, although the dice are used kind of in a unique way. But there's hand management because you're drawing cards into your hand every round and then trying to find the best card to play, best way to use that card. And then let's see, it says roll or spin and move and variable player powers. Yep. Each at the beginning, each have a variable power. But go ahead.
So the way the game is played is what you're doing here is you're playing the role of a high a noble or someone of high stature in this kingdom where the king is dying,
Right.
not dead, dying.
Yep.
Right. So you know that you need to begin getting your influence with the 4 houses
Right.
that are on the game board. You got the what seems to be like the military guild, which is like the city guard.
Right.
There's a nobles guild. There's a nobles house. Then there's like a guild house, which are like the guild workers, the artisans and things like that. And then there's the peasants, the workers. So those are the 4 different houses you're trying to vie influence for. And you're doing that by, at the beginning of each round, you're going to roll 4 dice and you're going to throw them on the board, and the dice match the colors of the houses, right? So you get red, yellow, white, and black. And then you're going to place those dice on each of those houses. That's how much influence can be earned that round for that house.
Right.
And everyone will then, each player will play 1 card that round based on the influence power, which was the die roll, to try to influence that house. And depending on how much power you use, it can give you these treachery cards, I believe is what they're called, treachery. But the goal is to move up in the influence of the house till you get to the end of the row, which I believe is 13.
It is, yeah.
Influence. But at the end of the game, once 3 houses...
Yeah, the triggers when each of 3 of the 4 houses are at 13.
At 13, we end the game, and the player who has the most points is going to win. However, the player with the most points, who has the most... the player with the most treachery...
Right.
Is going to get beheaded.
But right before they even have a chance to win the game, so they're automatically eliminated.
So you can really push the influence track, but the more you push it, the more treachery you get in your deck. So you can try to go for slow amounts, smaller amounts to try to build up your influence, but then you can also go for those big pushes on the board, but you're going to get treachery. Then you got to find ways to find cards in your hand to discard that treachery or give it away to somebody else,
right?
So you don't hold on to it, or use special abilities that help you mitigate the treachery. Like you had one that said if you had 2 poison cards or something.
It was 1. If I ended up with just 1, there's only 6 in the deck, but if I ended up with 1 and exactly 1, my player power was if I ended up with 1 or exactly 1 at the end of the game, all of my treachery became 0. So normally you add up all the points on all your treachery cards, but if I could take just exactly one poison card, then it would 0 all that out.
So it gives you an idea of how you mitigate your treachery.
Sure.
So at the end of the game, your goal is to be the highest influence person, getting points that way, getting points with buildings, getting points with cards that you played, but not having the most treachery, because that's when the king realizes you're trying to take over his power,
right,
and he beheads you.
Yep.
And then whoever's left is vying for the win of the game.
Second place becomes first place. Yeah.
Which is something you said you didn't like.
Yeah, I didn't. I like in a game, I generally like to do the best, and I guess part of the do the best in this game, I guess, is managing that treachery, not taking those treachery cards. But I don't necessarily like games that punish you for being too good at figuring out the game and figuring out how to amass points. So this certainly isn't the first game that's done this. There's been several games that by finishing with too much of something at the end, you get some kind of big penalty or get eliminated. So I wasn't crazy about that part. The mechanics of the game, there was nothing revolutionary. I mean, there was nothing in there that was like, oh, I have never seen that before. It was interesting. The cards that you draw up, I think you started every turn with 4 cards, and you can only play 1 card each turn. And the cards are either ally cards or building cards, and so there is a way to get points by building buildings. And so with the building card, what it would say is I would have to have a certain amount of power in a certain track to play the card and to be able to trigger the text and use it as a building. So when you play it, you bring it in kind of tapped.
Right, because you can't use it's under construction. So
right,
you can't use it that turn.
On the turn that you build it, right. So it just goes down kind of tapped. At the end of your turn, it untaps. And then from then on, there's a little ability on the card that every time it comes around to you, it's an action that you can do. Because at the beginning of every turn, you get an action. Your player card, your asymmetrical ability, gives you an option of doing one of, I think they all have 2 actions on them that are just kind of basic ones. But as you build buildings, you can get more specialized ones. So that was kind of neat. I did kind of like that when you had the option to do that. The other cards, the ally cards, were one-time effects. So it would say when you play this card, if this track is at 10 or higher, you get to do a one-time thing. You get 5 extra bonus points, or steal something from somebody, or give somebody else a treachery card. So there were these little triggers in the game that were a little unique. Again, they weren't completely something I hadn't ever seen before, but they were things that made the game a little different. One of the things, the dice have 3 sides on them. Actually, 4 sides. I guess there's a 0, a 1, a 2, and a 3. So they have 4 sides. And one of the interesting mechanics of the game, it took a little bit to grasp onto, for me at least, was that when you roll the dice at the beginning, again, you place them on whatever the face they were on the 4 different houses. So the yellow
and
die,
these are not normal dice because they only go from 0, 1, 2, or 3.
right, exactly. They don't go up to 4, 5, or 6. So it's just 1 through 3.
Zero.
0 through 3. Sorry, 0 through 3. And when you're placing them, so the black die is going to go in front of the black house, the red in front of the red, the white, and the yellow in front of their houses.
Oh, we got a call coming in. Let's take a peek. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
It's Lorenzo from Temple Terrace.
Oh, because it's quiet in there.
Hey,
Too damn quiet in that chat room, guys.
You're right,
You gotta
man.
Wake this show up a little bit.
I appreciate that, Bobby.
we appreciate that. Yeah. What you been doing?
So I was just calling to let Carlos know that I don't know if you guys talked about it on the show. I'm sorry, I'm catching it a little bit late.
Yeah.
I had some side work I was doing tonight.
No problem.
Hadrian's Wall arrives tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I've been seeing some of the stuff online about it, but I didn't realize it was coming tomorrow.
That's good.
So I've got one copy in there for Carlos too. So.
Sweet. Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to playing. I saw a how to play video. I don't remember if it was Rodney or I know it was actually through the publisher, through the designer. They did put out a how to play video a couple days ago, and it was 28 and a half minutes long for a roll and write for a how to play video.
It's supposed to be like the most epic roll and write, though. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy from what I understand as far as roll and writes go.
Yeah, I've seen a few reviews or previews from people who have played it, and they said you literally will take about an hour just to start understanding really how to play the game, and it'll take you your first play, which will be, for roll and write, this is ridiculous, but I'm really looking forward to it. Ridiculous in a great way, but it's going to take you 2 hours to play your first game, and then they said, I've heard person after person say even after their first 2-hour game, they only feel like they've grasped about 50% of the game, and that they've got to play it 3 or 4 times before they even really start getting to the point where they can come up with strategies of how to do well in the game. So that's something I am really looking forward to. So
that's where Robert fits in well. He likes to play something repeatedly to learn the strategy and the depth of it.
Yeah,
I'm happy for the theme of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just happy to get a heavy roll and write because I love roll and writes. I don't care how many they come out with, and I know they're kind of maybe a little overplayed lately, but I just love. Actually, I paid for my shipping tonight for Three Sisters. I don't know if you guys are aware of that one.
No, I don't think so.
It's from the makers that did Fleet, the dice game.
I was going to actually mention Fleet is supposedly one of the heavier roll and write dice type games out there. So I was going to compare that to Hadrian's Wall.
I think Hadrian's Wall is like way heavier than Fleet, the dice game, from what I understand.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah.
What's Three Sisters?
Three Sisters, it's kind of like the same thing. It's, I don't know why they called it Three Sisters. I guess there's a story behind it, but it's like you have a farm and there's things that like come in and out of the game where Fleet was kind of like more of a straightforward, you're rolling dice for this section, you're rolling dice for this section. It kind of changes it up every round, I think.
Okay.
But same type of thing, you're rolling and you're trying to grow the best vegetables and pumpkins and all that other, stuff. But
okay.
It's from the same people that made Fleet, the dice game, so you really can't go wrong with that one.
Yeah, I pulled it up here on BGG. It says 1 to 4 players. They don't have a weight on it yet. It says 30 to 60 minutes. They don't have any images of it yet other than just the cover of the box on BGG. But just so you know, I'll just quickly here say Three Sisters is a strategic roll and write game about backyard farming. Three Sisters is named after an indigenous agricultural technique still widely used today, in which 3 different crops, in this case pumpkins, corn, and beans, are planted close together. Corn provides a lattice for the beans to climb. The beans bring nitrogen from the air into the soil, and the squash provides a natural mulch ground cover to reduce weeds and keep pests away. So I guess the three sisters, they kind of benefit each other in the way that those three different crops grow. So that's
Very
pretty cool.
interesting.
I'm so proud of
If you
you,
go to
Robert.
their Kickstarter page, they have
Look at
more
him
stuff
getting
there,
into
but-
the theme. You see that, Michael? He's getting into the theme.
Yeah. Only because Michael asks. So yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just
Yeah,
tell me
there
how
it
it plays.
is.
Yeah, tell me the mechanic, and that's what I want. That's what I want to play. So, and
That's probably because it's lacking a lot of other information in this. All you got left is
that's all we
theme
gotta
and
do.
a cover
I don't
photo
have
right
any
now.
pictures to scroll through, but yeah, it says the publisher's Motor City Gameworks. So they're the ones who did Fleet, huh? Okay.
Michael, do you ever tire of roll and writes?
No, I know roll and write is, well, here's the thing. If it's a good roll and write where you can mitigate a bad roll, I think those are the better, like those I could just play all day. If it's not a well-designed one, where if you get a crappy roll, you're just kind of like, well, that was a crappy roll. I just lost everything. I don't care for those types, but I love roll and writes, man. I'll probably never get tired of them.
I'm looking to bring a roll and write with me next Thursday.
Oh yeah.
To
Which one?
The cafe, right? Because we're talking about hosting out of the cafe next week.
Yeah. Little
I
side
like it when you talk
venture.
dirty. Go ahead. Keep going.
We've got. I'm looking at bringing the cup of noodles.
Cup of noodles, Yahtzee.
Yahtzee.
That's a heavy roll, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
we're crying out loud.
It's a roll and write.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Roll some dice, write something down, right? Because we got a little noodle thing going next week. We're planning on.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that is true. That's true.
We're looking at recording some plays of ramen or noodle themed games while enjoying some of the spiciest ramen noodles packets that we can find.
Extra hot, spicy ramen. We're gonna have a little contest. We're gonna play some games, some light games. I hope while we are taking turns eating spicy ramen and see who drops first or who drops last. I guess who the last man standing is. So yeah, we're gonna do a little
That
fun.
should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, a little fun thing next week. I know Dan over at Your Turn is hosting. I think is he the one who bought the ramen?
Yes.
Okay, so him and
Yeah.
and it's Muhammad is going to join us. Are you going to be able to make it out, Mike?
No, I'm not going to be able to.
Oh, okay.
I believe me, I want to, but
Yeah.
I don't.
there's too many things going on.
So Carter's looking for somebody to sit in for him if there's.
That spicy ramen, man. I don't do. I'm Puerto Rican. Ketchup is my hot sauce.
Oh yeah.
That is like the highest level of hot sauce I do.
Man.
So it's going to be interesting,
Jeez
folks.
Louise.
So tune in next week, folks. If it all works out well, we'll have an unboxing of Red Rising to share. And you get to watch me cry while eating some spicy food.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my copy actually shows up Sunday.
Sweet. Yeah. Well, you'll have to give us your
man.
opinion of it as well then.
I'm excited for it, especially since he compared it kind of to Fantasy Realms, which I love that game.
Yeah, that was a game that we played just a couple Saturdays ago.
Yeah, wasn't that long ago. Yeah,
Right.
played a couple of rounds of that.
We brought it out to Your Turn. We had a little informal game night. 4 of us met up there, and we played a handful of games. And that's one you had introduced me to a while back. I can't remember. It's a year or two ago, and I barely remembered it. Then you pulled it back out again. I was like, oh,
It's
yeah.
Dice Tower.
Yeah, it might have been Dice Tower, yeah. Dice Tower
Yeah.
East now, but I guess it was just Dice Tower back then. But yeah, that's a fun little game. It was quick. I think we got in with 2 games, maybe in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, especially with the app. They have that app that you could download. You just put the cards in that you
That was
have at the
nice.
end of the game, and it tallies up with all the points and everything. That was great.
I was telling some people about that, and they had not heard of that. They were fans of the game, so they're definitely we're going to go out and look that one up.
Sweet.
Yep.
Sweet.
Nice.
All right, fellas. Well, I was just calling in to kind of liven up the joint a little bit.
I appreciate
You're
that.
doing
Yeah.
a good job of that yourself, but
Awesome. No,
I
we
like
want
to call in whenever I can.
we want to hear from people. Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate it. We really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, have a
All
good
right, man.
Have
We'll
a good
see you
night,
soon.
Mike.
See ya.
Bye.
All right, phone lines open again. 813-618-7099. Now, I know we were talking right before Michael called in. We were talking about games played. We talked Black Council.
Council Blackthorn.
Council of Blackthorn. Which I think at the end of the day, we gave this one
Yeah.
a good game.
It was good. I'd play it again.
Which the problem with good games,
They get lost.
there's too many really good games to play that it does get lost.
Yeah, it gets lost in the shuffle a little bit, that's for sure. So
give me a game you've played. That was mine.
Well, the other one we played that I recall from game day was last Saturday was I got my third full play in of Dune Imperium, and I'm still liking it as much as I did. We had a nice healthy debate that evening because you had loaned your copy of I wanted to say Ragnarok, Arnak. Was it Lost Ruins? It's right there on the shelf. Lost Ruins of Arnak, and they are similar games. I definitely believe Lost Ruins a little lighter, a little quicker, a little easier to teach, a little easier to play, and definitely a shorter game. And then compare that to
I would call it elegant.
Elegant, sure. Okay,
it's smooth. It plays quicker.
Yeah.
Not because it's less, Robert.
No, it's lighter, but I would say the decisions are quicker. I mean, when we played Dune Imperium, I saw your brain constantly burning. So it was constantly churning in that game.
But that was because, if I recall correctly, I was pushing for that win. Like I was right there on the cusp the whole time.
But sure, my 15-year-old daughter beat us both. And,
but she's beat you so many times.
Oh, yeah. That's a normal thing.
Emmy's too strong. But no, if you want to win, you got to be on point. Everything you do has to be moving you forward.
Yeah, for sure.
You got to have that plan.
Yeah. You got to be thinking in advance. And then Arnak again, and Arnak it's hard for me to say that I like one better than the other. I am liking Dune because it's newer and I've only played it a few times now. We played Arnak a lot when you first got it. I mean, we played that game. We played on New Year's Eve. We played it 2 or 3 times, and then we've played it 4 or 5 or 6 times since then. So, I mean, we've played a fair amount of Arnak, and I've played, like I say, 3 full games of Dune. Each game of Dune is taken between 2 and 3 hours, and so, I mean, it's a pretty... Well, I won't say heavy. It's a meatier game, I think. But, I mean, so they have different... they strike different nerves. Arnak is definitely fun, and it's quicker. It's not quick. It's quicker. And the decisions... there are some good decisions in there, but usually the decisions are... they burn your brain for a minute or two until you throw that card down and make that decision. Like you say, with Dune, you're thinking ahead more. You're having to remember, oh, crap, what was my plan? What was I going to do? So it's two different games, 2 different crowds. But yeah, again, we had a good debate because you had loaned your copy to Raphael and his girlfriend Rachel, and they had a chance to play. And so I was curious as soon as they walked in. That was the first thing I asked: "Is what's your thought? Which one's better?" Because they had both played Dune with us the one time, and Rachel immediately said Arnak. So
there we go,
which surprised me a little bit. But yeah, I mean they're definitely. And again, I think she said because it was quicker and it was a little easier to put it together. She's a newer gamer. But
wait, let's not caveat that. Come on, man.
No, you got
to add that caveat.
No, you got to. She's a
Why you got to throw that in there? Degrading my Arnak.
Not as heavy.
Listen, the way I'd say it is that Arnak gives you the feels that you would get from Dune.
Yeah.
In a much more compact, streamlined package, right? Concentrated, quicker,
it's a bigger
smoother,
game. Okay, sure.
Prettier, so much more gorgeous than what Dune is.
Sure.
But Dune has cubes, so I can understand why
cubes,
you're being biased.
Love me some cubes.
That's what it is. It's the cubes.
Yeah, and the interaction, the player interaction. We've talked about that before, but I think that's the big thing. That
did you gain anything new out of this last play of the Dune that stuck out for you? Want to share?
Well, I got to see more of it. Again, I've only played 3 times. There's a pretty decent stack of cards there in the market deck, and so I'm still running into. I've done 3 plays and then just a little bit of another play, and I'm still running into cards that I haven't seen before. I'm starting to see combos now. I'm starting to see that it's more important to pick a house maybe and go with one house and try to buy cards from that house and then combo up some of those things. So it's
I think what I'm starting to see is the need for the Fremen house early.
Fremen's important.
Fremen, I've ignored it the times that I played it before, and this next time I focused on getting that out of the way early.
Yeah,
and that I think helped the rest of my game. It made the rest of my game a better game.
And each of them have a thing that they do with the Fremen early in the game. There's a space on the board that you can only go to if you have at least 2 influence in the Fremen house. And so early in the game, just to kind of get past that 2 mark and not have to worry about not going to that space and just being able to choose anywhere on the board, and especially at 4 players.
But it's also very dependent on who's first player, because for me, the Fremen activity, which you need to get 2 influence on the Fremen house,
right?
It had to happen because you were going first.
Yeah.
So then I went second. It allowed me, because there's 2 Fremen spots.
Right.
So I was able to go to a Fremen location. Right. And then the turn marker at the end of that game round turned to me, allowed me to go first, which then allowed me to take a Fremen spot.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you're last in the order,
Right.
by the time it comes to you, one of those both of those Fremen spots are likely going to be taken.
Yeah,
So
depending.
you're not, and that's what happened to me in the first game. Is I think I went last in the first round, so the Fremen opportunity didn't come to me till 2 rounds later.
Right, and that is important. Although there are the 4 houses, and again, you get those victory points by passing the 2 certain points. You get the alliance by going higher up the track, or being past the 2 spot gives you that first just automatic victory point. So if somebody clogs up that Fremen early, you start moving on a different house, and you got an opportunity to go up there and grab a lead and get some points.
That's one less location on the board you can go to.
Right, that is the hamstring on that. But yeah, you get those other.
So we
houses.
both learned some tactics, and some strategy in our most recent play. So that was a good one.
Looking forward to playing again. But yeah, what else did you
That
play?
was Dune. All right, let's see. Let's talk about my new purchase, the one that came in. Tiny Epic Pirates.
Oh yeah, we played that. Yes,
we paid Tiny Epic Pirates, so it came in. I jumped in. I didn't do the Kickstarter. Our buddy Nick did, and Nick asked if anyone else wanted to jump in, so I jumped in with him. He purchased one for me with the expansion. So we did not play with the expansion. We took it with us to the shop, and I think it was the last game of the evening we played. We started at 11 a.m.
Yep.
And I didn't leave there till 11.
We closed the place down at 11. We were there a little after 11. Yep. So, hanging out.
So we played a 4-player game of Tiny Epic Pirates. It was myself, your daughter Emmy, Rob here, and then Dan, the shop owner, for your turn. He was there as well in that match.
Yep.
It went longer than I thought it would, but part of it did have to do. Dan was still working; he would have to get up and go do stuff. So I can't let that feeling. I can't let that feeling stand out too much.
Yeah,
it felt that way, but I think I'm gonna. I think with repeated plays, we can get it under an hour.
Right. It wasn't a particularly complicated game, although we did have to stop several times and look things up, just because it was our first play and we didn't do a thorough...
And I've never done a Rondell game.
Right. Right. It was your first Rondell game. We didn't do a thorough reading of the rules. We kind of learned on the fly. So that's always going to, of course, slow things down a little bit. But it was...
Yeah, and Tiny Epic Pirates, what you're doing is you're playing the role of a pirate captain.
Yep.
You've got a pirate ship, and that ship can carry so many... 3 cubes of loot that you... or booty. I'm going to say booty a lot in this. It's a lot of booty here. The 3 things of booty, you're going to carry that booty around. You either have coffee, you have gunpowder, you have rum. So purple's rum, coffee's brown, sugar is tan, and gunpowder is 4.
Yeah.
4. Gunpowder, sugar, coffee, and rum. And you're going to then sell those at different locations that are seeking it. The value is going to be dictated by a scale that is modified, because every time you sell that good, you're going to reduce the value of that good.
Goes down to the bottom.
Yep, it goes to the bottom, and then everything else goes kind of up a little bit.
Yep.
You're also going to have options to hunt down merchant vessels.
Yeah.
Right? You get to attack these merchant vessels to try to take their booty, because they're moving from one port to another port back and forth, kind of autonomous.
Got to get that booty.
Right, got to get the booty.
Yep.
And you're also being chased by the Navy.
Yeah.
So you got the Navy coming around. You can't attack the Navy directly, but if they attack you, they always win.
Right.
The Navy will always win, and whatever you get attacked, either by another pirate or by a Navy ship, so PvP, so pirate versus pirate here, it can happen. When you get attacked by them or a Navy ship, you get jostled, meaning your workers, your meeple, crewmen get put into the repair slot, and they can't be used to help skip spaces on the rondel,
right?
And they can't be used to man the sails or man the cannons or go get you money. So you're losing extra money, extra speed, and you're losing extra firepower,
right,
on your tableau, on your board, because your folks are over there working the repairs from the damage from the attack.
Right.
You sail into a storm. You also get jostled and have to put some of your guys into the repair section to repair your ship. So you're going back and forth each turn, picking an action on the rondel, taking that action, either attack. Everybody moves every time. You can attack. You can plunder. You can search for tokens on the board to find booty that way.
Recruit.
You can recruit new crew members, up to 4 crew members on your ship.
Drop anchor and hide in a cove.
Yep. You can, at the top of the board, at the top of the rondel, it resets where you can drop anchor, go into a cove, and at that point you can reassign your crewmen, your deckhands,
right,
so that you can take them out of the repair slot and put them back onto the different the cannons and and manning the sails and all that stuff, the rigging, as they call it.
There you go. Yeah.
So you're going around the board, taking these actions based on what's available on your rondel. You spend deckhands to skip spaces on the rondel.
Right.
And then as you come back around, it releases the deckhands so you can put them back onto your ship to give you those bonuses. Trying to time the action that you know is coming with what you're trying to do so they kind of work together. Like having the right amount of booty to be able to go trade with the trade action.
And not getting stuck with all your deckhands jostled and having to go all the way around the rondel before you could reset. You got stuck with that early in the game, and we found out that was not the way to go. So,
well, that was my first rondel game. In my first time around the rondel, I got all my deckhands on the rondel, and then I got them jostled, and then I get to the top where it lets you go into a cove and reset.
Right.
I kind of give you that refresh. It's almost like a wasted turn.
But you decided to skip that step.
Right, because I really wanted to do the next action. Like I wanted to go, I think it was trade or plunder. It was something important to me, and it may have been trade that I wanted to go do, and I did it, and then I found myself, oh, wait. Now I have to take every single action on this rondel.
Got to stop every spot. You can't skip anything now because all your guys are jostled and they're repairing the boat, repairing the ship. Yeah.
Yep. Before I can, reassign. And now I'm running for my life because my speed was down because I had nobody on the rigging to give me extra speed.
Yep.
I'm scared because my cannons are down, so I'm not a threat. Every other pirate knows that they have more firepower than I do.
Yep.
Right. And I'm not earning any money, which is what I need in order. So that's the name of the game is to bury 3 treasures. And the way you bury 3 treasures is you get to 13 gold. You find a burial spot, and then you take the search action to bury there.
Right.
I wasn't making money. I wasn't moving fast, and I had no cannons. It was bad.
It all worked out for you all right in the end, though, if I recall. I think you won that game?
No.
Did you not? Oh, who won?
No, Carlos wins. I wrote it down.
You beat me by one barrier at the end of the game. Yep.
I can celebrate that. Dear Diary, Carlos wins.
There you go. Yeah, you won a game. So, and let's talk about these crazy Kickstarter dice that you got. So.
The skull dice. There was a lot of talk about the skull dice, and people were being upset because when they originally designed them, Robert, they looked gorgeous. They were like these gorgeous skull-looking dice. But I guess as they went through production, they realized, this is not going to work. So they had to change it into what you saw, the actual production product.
Yeah.
What'd you think of the skull dice?
They look like weapons. Number one, they've got. I'm trying to see
caltraps that you can throw on the ground and people will step on.
See if I can find. Here we are. Here's got a pretty decent picture of them here on BGG. But let's see if I can blow it up.
No, I think those were the.
Well, no, this is pretty similar to what they look like. They may not have been as detailed.
That's them.
Yeah, so the side that you would, I thought was going to be 4 pips, only was 2, and they're kind of pushed off to one side. It's supposed to be a skull, so if you look closely, it's kind of the eyes, and there's the nose, and then the bottom of the skull there. So, but they have these corners on them that are, actually, these may have been a prototype somewhere along the way, because I remember the corners on yours being a little more jagged, a little more sharp, but when you rolled the dice, being squares with raised corners like this, they didn't want to roll. If I threw it across the table, it would tend to hit on one side and just slide on that side. So I didn't like the way that they didn't roll, I guess would be the way to say it.
Yeah.
And then they just weren't comfortable trying to roll. They're fairly large.
They're pokey.
Yeah, and they're pokey, so when you're rolling them around, they're kind of like poking around in your hand. And then, they were extremely light, whatever material they're made out of.
Especially in your soft palms. I know your palms are very tender.
Soft, very tender, yeah. But so they were very light. I just didn't like the feel. I didn't like the roll. Although I did roll them the whole game. Everybody else bailed out, I think, and started rolling the regular dice. But because it came with a set of regular dice.
Yeah,
didn't it?
The box came with a set. This was the extra set of dice that came outside of the box for the Kickstarter.
Okay, gotcha. So everybody else was just rolling the regular dice by the time we were done. But I stuck with it. I rolled these dice. But they were they're a bit of a gimmick, I think. They look kind of cool. But
what about the other components like the ships? The metal coin.
Very nice. I'm looking here. I was just through the BGG stuff. I'm not sure where this stuff came along, but these are little.
That is Spanish Main. That is a game I used to play.
Oh, okay. So they borrowed some
decades ago.
Okay. So I see these little cardboard cutouts.
That's Pirates of the Spanish Main. It was by, I believe, WizKids, and it was a build-your-own pirate ship.
Gotcha.
They came in these little booster cards.
Oh.
They're plastic booster cards. So it looked like a pack of magic cards, right? And then you'd open them up, and then you punch them out, and then you build them like a little 3D puzzle.
Okay. So
it was an amazing game.
I'm looking like that's not this game.
No, that's not.
This game on the left side here, these plastic ships, but they were pretty cool. Actually, the little masts come out. You had to build the ships, and then when we put it away, we took them back out so they wouldn't snap off or anything. But these little plastic ships were pretty cool. The little meeples that you use as your deck hands. I'm going through here actually, and this reminds me, going through here is there was a metal coin. Your coins are tracked on the side of the board. The money, the gold that you have.
There's a numerical track on the side.
And you can kind of see it here on the bottom of this shot, but there's a better shot here of the board. So, but you just get one of these coins. So the awesome, metal coins in the game, doubloons in the game, but then when you handed each one of us one, and I realized pretty quickly, like, oh, this is the only one I'm going to get. I was like, oh, that's a little bit.
Better hang on to it.
Yeah,
it's your precious. That's all you got.
It was a little disappointing
in the soft part of your palm.
I wanted to play with a little stack of metal coins, but in any case, that was very nice. Then again, I think that's probably Kickstarter exclusive as well, I would guess.
No, that came in the box.
Is that in the regular box?
Yeah, that came in the box.
Well, that's nice then. That's that.
Now you can buy extras.
Okay.
So you can buy like packs of them.
All right.
And I think at that point probably use them as actual gold that you're going to pull on the table.
Yeah, we may have to do that. So
the ships are well molded, plastic ships.
Yeah.
A little bit fiddly with getting the cubes in and out of the ships.
That was definitely a thing. All of us, we played with my 15-year-old daughter
she's got nimble little hands.
She's 5'11", so she's not even 4'11", I should say, 4'11". And so she's not quite 5 foot tall yet. So she's definitely on the smaller side. And then we had us who are a little on the larger side, but none of us could seem to get those cubes in and out of the little spaces between the masts on the ship very well. A lot of times we were having to just knock the ship over to dump them out, and then we'd have to drop them in 4 or 5 times to try to get it to sit down in the little recess of where the cargo holds were. But so that was definitely a little fiddly. I mean, I guess you could probably just throw the cube next to the ship and move it along with the ship or something
most games will have you put it on your board.
Yeah, something like that.
I like that it's on the ship because of the theme aspect. Yeah. And it's also easy to tell who has what. So, and the reason that's cool is because with the ship, even though I can see, one of the cool things was seeing your ship with what you had on it.
Yeah.
Although I can't take it from you, right? Because when you attack another pirate, you don't take their booty.
Right. Yeah.
What I can do is go sell what you're trying to sell.
Right.
Because I see you headed for maybe a sugar port and you got 3 sugar cubes on there.
Right now they're worth 6 each.
Right. They're worth $6 or 6 gold a pop. Mm-hmm. You're going to get, an $18 spread here on this sale.
Yeah.
What does Emmy do? Yeah, she runs to the most nearest port with her 1 sugar cube and sells it for $6,
yep.
Which takes your sugar cube value down to $2 a piece.
6, so it was either 3 or 2 or 3 each. Then after that, so yeah.
And I could see the look, the look of I'll stab you.
Yeah, exactly. So it was 4 cubes. So was it 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 3 4, 5, 6? But either
it went
way,
from the highest level to the lowest level.
Highest to lowest.
And your plan to sell all these cubes, that profit margin.
Yeah, I had that happen to me twice.
Gone.
I believe you may have done that to me once.
Well, once I saw them do it, I was like, that's cool. I got to do that too.
Yep. And I know Dan did it. Dan, of course,
Chaos.
was playing on Chaos. Yeah, he definitely had to run over there and do that once or twice in the game. And actually, I think once it was even to his detriment. He had a hole full of valuable cargo. And he I think that was me actually that he did that too. He ran over and sold the 1 cube just to knock the price way down.
He had the option to sell for like $12 or something.
Yeah.
And he chose to go sell for
1 cube for 5 or something just to knock it all the way down because he knew I was racing across the board to cash it in for 15. So yeah, that was pleasant. So,
so no, you can't steal it from them, but you can play with the economic market.
Right, play with the economy. Yeah,
the demand.
Yep.
I got to say, I enjoyed this game. Wayne
fun.
Kruger in the chat asked, where does it stack with the other Tiny Epics games? I'm going to say it's a bit too early for me to stand on that yet.
Probably. You've played more of them than I have. I think I've played maybe 4 or 5 at the most of the Tiny Epics.
I'm probably about 4 or 5. I think we're different ones, too.
Okay, different ones, yeah. I'd say it's in the better half for me.
It definitely, right to the top. It shot to the top half.
Yeah, definitely top half, I think.
To me, I'm still a big fan of Galaxies.
Yeah, that's my favorite, yeah.
Both versions, the original and the Blast Off.
I haven't played the second one. I haven't played Blast Off yet, but yeah.
So it's going to be tough for that to get past it. And I think Blast Off is just so fast that's also the thing of how I couch my games is how much game am I getting in how much time?
Sure, yeah.
Right, so almost like that Dune versus Arnak conversation we just had is how much game am I getting in how much time?
Sure.
Pirates going to take a little longer. I got to play a true playthrough without some of the interruptions that we had to see how long does it really play. And that will help me understand where I'm going to put it in the order of Tiny Epics.
Okay.
But it might rise fast because I felt like I was playing Merchants and Marauders.
Yeah, I like the theme. Definitely the pirate theme is awesome. Merchants and Marauders, you mentioned we've played that 2 or 3 times. That's
You have. I played more than you.
Game. Oh yeah. That's a long game.
Yes.
So this gives you a taste of that in hopefully less than an
an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And you get the taste of a 6-hour Merchants and Marauders game.
Yeah.
Not all the story that you get from Merchants and Marauders. Of course, that's a big part of it. Going for the rumors, doing all those missions.
Yep.
But the idea of deciding, do I want to be a merchant and just move goods around and sell them,
right?
Which is what I did. I never pirated.
Yeah. We finished one.
I didn't pirate.
That. Yeah.
I think I attacked maybe one merchant ship because it was an easy target and it had booty that I wanted to sell.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I just stayed in the world of trading, where Emmy and Dan both were going into that attacking world, attacking us.
Right.
They kept hitting us just to be able to get that legend status.
We were doing merchant. They were doing the marauder. Yeah.
And when you attack other players, you get to level. If you beat them in the attack, you get to level up your ship. So you get more speed, you get more cannons.
Yep.
You know, your captain name goes up. You go from like Sea Dog to Marauder or something. So I didn't play that world. Nope. I just focused on merchandise.
Sure.
Mercantilism.
Yeah.
English is not my first language.
Yeah.
So that was Tiny Epic Pirates.
Yeah.
I'm in for another round.
I give it a thumbs up. I definitely looking forward to playing that again.
All right.
Anything else you had going on, or
no? I know we're past the 10 o'clock hour, but we have a ton of stuff to still talk about, right? What other games have we played? Because by next week, I'm hoping we've got more played.
Yeah.
So let's go through our list of what we played.
I think that's just about it for me. I mean, you can, if you got another one, go ahead.
Okay. Let's see here. Marvel United, I played with my kid. We talked about that. Biblios tonight.
Okay. Yep.
We taught Barry how to play Biblios. We played 2 games of Biblios.
Biblios in, yeah.
Talk about game for concentrated time.
Oh yeah.
This is the best bang for your buck game you're gonna have. Yeah. Biblios is a card game for 2 to 4 players, 3 to 4 players.
2 to 4.
2. It is 2. 2 to 4 players, where you're playing the role of like a monastery or a monk. Where you're trying to build a library, you're trying to transcribe books of library of books of church documents, or you're playing where you're buying monks, you're hiring monks, you're buying pigment, but you're also working with heretics that can impact the value of stuff, or with the church to improve the value of stuff. So the game is played in 2 phases. In the first phase of the game, we're doing what's called gifting. So at that point, each player takes 1 turn to play out a number of cards equal to the number of players plus 1, where you're going to, in that set, keep a card, you're going to put a card, save it for later for auction, or you're going to put it in the player area where they're going to be given to all the other players,
right?
Where they get to decide what to pool. The tough part about that decision in depleting that deck and doing that gifting area is you only get to draw 1 card and make a decision with what to do with it,
right,
before you see the next card. So you have to decide when you draw that first card, am I keeping this? Is this good enough for me to keep? Or am I giving this away to the players? Or am I putting it in the auction stack for later? So then we're going to take turns running around, depleting that deck, giving it all away, taking some, putting some for auction. By the time we're done doing that, half the deck is in the auction stack, half the deck is in the player's hand. And the hope is that you're going to have a number of cards for each of the colors in the game. There's 5 different colors: brown, blue, yellow,
red,
teal, and red.
Yep.
Your hoping is to get the most power in that color set. So each card has a numerical value. There's a certain number of cards and a number of each of those numbered cards. And whoever at the end of the game has the most power in that color is going to gain the victory points for that color based on what number the die is
ends
set to.
On,
the D6 on the board is set to. So that was the first phase. Hopefully you got a good set in your hand. Now we go to the auction phase. So that auction deck of cards that you put aside, we begin to bid for. And some of the cards that we got in the gift section include the color set cards that we're trying to get, but they also might include gold.
Right.
So as we get gold cards, we're going to now in the auction section flip a card. 1 player starts off as the auctioneer, and then we'll begin the bidding with the players to the left, where we will then bid gold to try to get that card. And this is where you start finishing your set.
Right.
Like you feel like you have enough blue cards.
You decide whether you do or you don't. You're either all in or you try to get all out. So
right. And then you decide, do I want to bid on that card? And that's where the fun really begins, is trying to figure out who's going for what colors.
Right.
And then are you competing for that color? Like, do you have a chance to go after it?
Right, and you've got some imperfect information depending on the number of players. Before you even start going through the deck and playing the game, you set aside a certain number of cards out of the game altogether. So it definitely, you can't completely card count. You can kind of get an idea. 3 of the colors, the maximum, the total of all the cards in the game total up to 11. The other 2, they total up to 26. And so the ones that total up to 26, those 2 are kind of on 2 dice on the left, and then the other 3 are the 3 dice on the right. And so you're manipulating those depending on how you think you're doing as far as collecting. But again, you can kind of play the game because you know if there it only adds up to 11, let's say for the red set, and you can get 5, that's almost half. So all you got to do is figure then, all right, if one of the set aside cards was a 1 or a 2 of that color, then I know I've got more than anybody else can have. But there's always that uncertainty until you get to 6. If you get to 6, then you know the next best player, even if they have all the rest of the reds, they can only be up to 5.
Because there's only 11 power in that color set.
Right. So you can know you can lock it up, but you almost never in the game get to that point where you absolutely know you've got it. You're usually trying to get close to half. So we're right at half so that you know.
Which is why I think I lose a lot, because I feel like I want to get to the point where I lock it in.
Oh, no,
but it costs so much money to get there that I'm losing on the other color sets.
You're just going for one color in that case.
Right.
Yep.
And I definitely get the color I got.
Yeah.
But then I'm not competing for the other colors. And there's 5 dice on the board with variable point values based on how the game ended up.
Right.
You've got to diversify.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to know which ones you can diversify in.
That's what you're doing in the game is you're watching what other people are grabbing, and you're trying to decide, okay, he's going for green, he's going for red. And then, at some point, if they stop taking those cards, you start thinking, oh, okay, so they probably are at least right at half or more. So they
feel they got it.
Yeah. So I got to know that I'm going to have, at least half or one less than half if I'm going to give any shot of that. Otherwise, maybe you start bailing on those cards, start getting rid of them. And then you've got these cards like this one here. This one allows you when you draft
the church and the heretic, where once you play this card, it allows you to either roll up 1 die or roll down 1 die.
In this case, roll up 1 die by 1. And so if you draft that card, then you immediately go to one of those 5 die and you can roll it up 1 value, some a 3 to a 4 or a 2 to a 3. And so you're trying to obviously roll up the ones that you are collecting. You're trying to roll down ones that you're bailing on and that somebody else is going to end up winning. But you're trying not to be too obvious about it, because if you are too obvious, then everybody knows what you're doing. They're just going to roll the die right back down after you roll it up, or they're
vice versa.
Yeah, or they're going to go all in and try to get that color and work with whoever else is playing the game to try to stop you. So you're trying to kind of be subtle a lot of the time and hide what you're doing. So it's a fun game.
Yeah, what I find for me is because of the 2 different phases in the game, it feels like I'm playing 2 different games in one time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And both games are awesome people games, like mind games with each other. Right. So in the push your luck gifting phase, there's that aspect of it of, wow, okay, maybe I should keep this. It's a good card, but you know what? I'm going to put it in auction for later.
Yep.
Right? Okay, this is a good card. I'm going to keep that one. And then you go to flip to give to the other players, because you got to give to every player.
Right.
And now you have no more control.
Right.
Because we burned one into the auction pile. You burn one into your hand.
Right.
Your only options are to give away. And then, bomb. Both of the cards are better than the first 2 you flipped. And you're like, mother of pearl.
Yeah.
But that's when you start to see people's patterns, because the player to your left gets to pull the first option from that little display of public cards.
Set aside,
And you see, okay, well, he pulled a red. And then you see maybe a couple turns later, he pulls another red. And you're like, hey, now.
He's going for the red.
I see you. And then you got to tell everybody, he's going for red.
Start devaluing that red die. Start rolling it down every chance you get. He's locking up a red over there. So.
Right, and then I feel like I'm in Jurassic Park yelling, Dotson. Yeah. I'm like yelling, this guy.
There you go.
He's going for red.
Yeah. And the decisions are so different in the second half of the game where you're doing the auction. It's just a straight auction game, trying to bluff people, and you can bluff in the game. We didn't mention that. So you can actually you got these gold cards, 1, 2s, and 3s, and so then in the auction phase you're just flipping over cards, and then you're going around taking turns bidding. Once you pass, you're out. But you can bid more than you can actually pay, and if you ever get stuck, trying to bid it up on other people, and if they call you on it and you end up winning and you can't pay, then you have to splay out your hand. Each of your opponents gets to draw a card at random out of your hand and just steal it from you.
You can really swing the game there.
Right. But you're constantly, even when you're not bluffing over, you're constantly bidding on cards that you don't really want to win, just because the guy across the table or the player across the table really is going all in for that red, and you're like, I don't even have.
We're
a
not
red
giving
card.
it to him for free.
Yeah, I don't even have a red card. I'm not even going for red, but I'm going to bid two gold on that just to see if he'll pay 3 for it. So he can't then bid on the blue when it comes up that I need. So
That's the goal.
You're bluffing each other back and forth, so it's fun.
Man, this game is just, it's concentrated fun. The theme is terrible. It's boring. It's it's scribing books is what they're doing. That's all they're really doing.
But of course, it's all about
monks just scribing books.
Mechanics.
But is it a rumor, Robert? You heard?
Yeah, and I just looked right before we went on just to double check. But yeah, I'd heard a couple of places. I know Dice Tower, Tom Vassal's mentioned a couple of times that they are retheming and re-releasing the game. They're going to be updating the artwork and stuff. I can't recall whether he said what the theme was going to be. I was looking online and I saw several people talking about the re-release of it, and I didn't see anybody mentioning. I heard there were some people on there theorizing about some different themes that they could take it into.
Okay, so no one said it yet.
Yeah, which leads me to believe that maybe they haven't said yet exactly what the theming is going to be. But from what I understand, the mechanics are going to be exactly the same. So
I'll be keeping an eye out for that one.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah,
so that was our play of Biblios, and I think that runs me out of games we played this last week.
Okay, yeah, I think so. We talked about everything we played tonight. We played just the 2 games tonight. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, hour and 15 minutes of content for y'all.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
And my hope is that with next week, with Mitchell getting his copy of Red Rising, and then us hosting from your turn.
Yeah.
Right, we can have a combination of opening the show with an unboxing, and then getting into some spicy ramen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not excited about that part.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Check us out on the Beans and Dice Facebook page.
Yep, YouTube.
So on the Facebook page, we've been posting pictures on the gram. Hit me up on the Instagram. Robert and I have been posting pictures of our gameplays and some videos that we've had. You can see some cool videos of us playing Unmatched.
Yep.
Just light little snippets, clips of us playing some Unmatched on the Instagram. The Facebook page is where we post what we got going on.
Yep. If you're ever in the Tampa area, the second Saturday of every month, we're planning to have a get-together, our gaming day. Again, we usually go from about noonish till wherever we're at closes down, usually 11 or 12 o'clock. So talking about 11 or 12 hours of playing games for the temporary time at least. We're planning to meet at Your Turn, a board game cafe in Zephyr Hills, probably for at least the next couple of months. But we like to move it around a little bit, so we probably won't stay there permanently. But definitely, if you're in the area, check out our site, check out our webs. And
oh, hey, we got a call.
Let's give it a shot.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Jamey Stegmaier from Stegmaier Games. How are you guys doing?
No way.
Not again. Can it be?
Hi.
Hello.
I can't resist the bait when I see you guys talking about our games.
And I feel
to log in.
Oh man. And okay, so Jamie, I need to apologize because
right up front.
Our host, who was gonna unbox live from his home in Louisiana, his package was delayed. He got the message.
Oh no.
And it ruined our plans. So we're delaying this for next week as our opening. It's not your fault.
Oh, no.
It was FedEx.
Yeah, it was FedEx. FedEx was delayed on the delivery. He got the notice. He said about 45 minutes before we went on air that the box was not going to be delivered. They actually offered, he said, to let him come to the warehouse and pick it up, but it was a 45-minute drive to the warehouse. So
before it closed.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to be able to make it and get on the air with us tonight. Although, on the flip side of that, we did have one caller this week who also is expecting his copy in the next couple of days. And that's a local.
Oh, cool.
Right. One of our game group guys.
So they both are planning to join us next week. They're both going to call in and give us their first impressions. We're going to do the live unboxing on the air from our co-host in Louisiana. So we're really looking forward to that. But yeah, unfortunately, we had to push the whole thing back a week.
There's our disclaimer. I'm sorry.
No worries at all. I was excited to see it, and I means a lot to me that you guys are talking about it on your show. Are either of you getting a copy? If not, I need to send you one.
Oh, I have not, because I'm. Well, that's embarrassing, Robert. I'm not a champion, Jamie. I gotta get on champion.
Yeah,
I gotta see the
champion status.
The issue is we have so many gamers in our group, in our tight knit circle, who are champions.
Right.
And what we find is we all end up with multiple copies of the same game, so we have to make decisions on who's getting what. So Michael's getting it.
Yeah.
Yep, Michael.
That makes sense.
One of the ones that's going to be joining us next week.
But I would not say no to a copy for us to host here.
Oh, absolutely.
I would never say no to
We
that.
definitely would. Yeah, we would review it. We'd talk about it. We'd show it on.
Especially after you got me reading the books.
Yes, Carlos has started reading the books.
Oh,
yes.
that's great. Yeah.
Because you mentioned the books. I finished my first book, the first book in the series, just before last week's show. And so I got to get into the second one. But I will ask, where did you land on the personality spectrum that you have on your website? So Jamey Stegmaier, on his website for the Red Rising, there's a personality test that you can do that tells you which house you can be a part of, which is the fictional houses of the book. I want to know where Jamey landed.
Yeah. I ended up, surprised me a little bit, because I usually, I play red when I play games. So I kind of thought, okay, I'll end up House Mars. But I ended up testing into House Series, which is the gold color. Not the gold class or cast. It's the, in the game, it's the gold house.
Yeah, it's the sickle with the wheat.
What did you just
I was
exactly.
Series as well. I don't know if it's because I like bread and beer. It's
could be. Yeah.
House Series is the in the fiction. Each house gets dropped off with their type of resource almost, and they're the one house that ends up with like wheat and farming and bread, right? So they all get chubby and soft, right? So I feel like I belong there.
Yeah, that's a little fitting. Yeah.
And we say it on our website here. I looked it up. We say House Series is resilient and bountiful, rewarding its allies greatly while withstanding outside forces.
Well, there you go.
And they were one of the last castles stand. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling the books, y'all.
Oh, don't go there. Yeah.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah, a little slip. Yeah.
It sounds like a dwarf. That fits my. I tend to play dwarves. That description sounds like a dwarf. I think it fits perfect.
I play dwarves too. Yeah.
Oh man, we got a lot in common, man.
That might be a House Series. I hadn't made that connection. Yeah, I played Clank Legacy last year, and I gravitated immediately towards the dwarf character.
Oh, cool.
Stout, strong, always moving forward.
Yeah,
maybe not fast, but we'll get there.
Can we throw the dwarf?
No dwarf tossing.
No dwarf tossing? Okay.
No.
Hey, Jamey, I can I get a favor from you, my brother?
Of course.
Can I have you say, hey, this is Jamey Stegmaier, and you're listening to the Beans and Dice, or you're watching the Beans and Dice podcast, something like that, anything. Could you do that for me?
Absolutely.
Hit it.
Yeah. Hey, this is Jamey Stegmaier from Stegmaier Games, and you are watching the Beans and Dice podcast.
Awesome.
We got to capture that. Yeah.
I think we need to make him an honorary member of the SpaghettiOs can.
Oh.
So whenever we ever get to meet Jamey,
That's a whole story.
He's got to sign our SpaghettiOs can.
Yeah.
You and all the other gaming personalities.
Yeah, it's a thing. We'll have to tell the story sometime. But it was at a Dice Tower convention a couple years ago, and we got all the Dice Tower celebrities. We got
and more
Bonacor, a bunch of people to sign.
Eric Lang signed it.
Eric Lang
so
signed
it's our first player marker. It's a can of SpaghettiOs. So once conventions kick back up, I'm going to find you. I'm going to get you to sign that can and put you on that, and then I'm going to sell it.
Oh yeah, no.
Are the spaghetti still in the can, or is it?
We promised that 5 years from now, which would put us at 2025, I think it was, we're going to eat it at the Dice Tower convention.
Something like that. So if we don't all get sick and pass away, but just a real quick version of that. I mean, it's the short story, but we were at a Dice Tower convention a couple of years ago, and we were talking about hardcore gamers, and there was in the middle of I forget what game we were playing, but there was a game.
Way of the Panda.
Way of the Panda. Okay, there was like 4 or 5 of us playing Way of the Panda, and then we look over. One of us looks over. It was actually behind me. It was over my shoulder. I don't remember who it was.
And there was a gentleman back there,
right?
Who it was lunchtime. We were all hungry,
yeah.
But in the middle of that, he just busts out a can of SpaghettiOs, pops the top, drops some hot sauce in it,
a little hot sauce in the top,
and just goes to town and keeps going at the game. And
can of raw SpaghettiOs just right there. He didn't want to get up and leave the table, so we immediately said that is hardcore gaming. We gotta do that. So we went and picked up a bottle. Or actually, one of the wives of one of us that was there went out. And,
the following year,
it was the following
one
year,
of our
that's right.
buddies' wives showed up with a can of SpaghettiOs,
and she said
to remind us of last year's events.
Yeah, and so we made a thing out of a little trophy. We said from now on, this is going to be our first player marker, and we're going to get everybody to sign this. All the gaming celebrities
that we can meet.
Yeah, that we can meet, have them sign it. So we've got about 10 or 11 signatures on it now. And actually, that when Nick varnished it.
We varnished it.
He varnished it, sealed it up so that it wouldn't fade. So
because it means hardcore gaming. That's what it means.
That was the idea behind the SpaghettiOs. So
we'll get you on that.
I love that.
Anything for the folks? Anything going on? I know you have your just about a daily show on your Facebook page, your daily stream, which I jump in on. Most of your news is there, folks. If y'all want to know what Jamey's up to, catch him on that Facebook stream. Mm-hmm. Is it just Facebook, Jamey?
I do a Facebook live stream once a week, kind of like what you guys do here, but on Wednesdays during the day.
And then there's your blog post that I see on Facebook. There's like the blog post.
YouTube. You're probably seeing the YouTube because I do YouTube. I talk about 2 games a week and then a longer video on Sundays.
Right.
So I feel like I see you every day of the week, either on Facebook, YouTube, or your blog post. I'm seeing you every day of the week.
He's out there.
I'd pop up here and there, but yeah, I did want to. I really didn't want to make this about me. I was just excited to see you guys talk about Red Rising. I'll have to be trying to tune in next week if it arrives. Yeah.
Well, we're definitely counting on it. Yeah. So we're going to make definitely a thing of it next week. Yep.
Thank you so much for your calling in, and we hope to hear from you again. We appreciate you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Sounds great. I appreciate what you're doing too. And let me know if you just want a copy of Red Rising, I'm happy to send it, or if you want to play it first and see if it's for you. And either way, send me an email, and I'm happy to send you a copy whenever you want.
You got it, sir.
That's
appreciate
great.
it.
Thank you, Jamey.
Have a good night.
Okay. Have a good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
I'm so glad I did not end the show at 10 o'clock on the dot.
We were just trying to wrap it up.
So glad I did not end the show at 10 o'clock tonight.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jamey,
that was pretty cool.
Jamey calling in again. So that's he's a regular caller now. Twice. That
makes him a repeat caller.
Exactly. That's awesome. Hopefully some of the live fans stuck with us and got to take that in, and everybody will see it on the replay.
Oh, Wayne was asking about the viticulture expansion.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Wayne. I was so
next week
engrossed in my conversation. I missed that. But if he does call again, I'll push him on the viticulture expansion.
Yeah, next week.
Supposedly he's not giving out much details.
Oh, is he? Is he staying tight-lipped on that one?
Yeah, we'll see if he can help us out with that.
Maybe he can drop us a nugget, a little insight.
Hey, what a soundbite too, man.
That was awesome. I'm glad you thought to ask him for that. So that's cool.
That's awesome. All right, that's it. I'm done.
Yep.
It don't get better than that. Yep, we out. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
See you.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.